and the school never told them that we are taking your child to a different school. So all the way from Kampala to from Mutungo to Nakaseke. And the parent only realizes when the school has issued out a certificate having details of the school in Nakaseke. How is this possible, and why does it happen?
Oh yes, many schools, by the way, this is an eye-opener to all the parents out there. Schools do these things, and it is very, very wrong, with, of course, selfish interests. They have in school A very bright student, say 10 of them, who are expected to score between 4 to 5. If it's at senior 4, 8, 10, or even 9. Now they feel there is another school they want to promote in terms of performance. So they transfer or deliberately register students in another center. When it comes to the time of sitting, a certain group of students are seen sitting from another center with intentions of promoting that center, so that when results come out, center B is also pronounced among the best performers. It can also be the other way around. I have 100 students in center A, but out of 100, 30 are very weak, that I wouldn't love those 30 to damage my center in terms of performance and ranking. So what I do, I register the 30 elsewhere, maybe in a weak school, a small school that still wants to show numbers. So we negotiate out and I register them from another center. So at the end of the day, the child is affected. At the time of sitting UNEB, they have to be transferred to another center. Sometimes which center is even miles and miles away from Kampala to sit their exams there, which psychologically affects them. Because as teachers, we know very well, when a child sits from within the environment where they have been prepared, it even boosts memory. Emia looking at Hajat, who has been my teacher of Islam, I straight away remember and recall a lot. Emia looking at her. But now when I'm transferred to a strength center, that affects my memory. Even if you're to transport an animal from zone A to zone B, the first day the animal will be dull. If even an animal may fail to be active the first day, how about a human being? So schools are doing these, parents out there, but it is very, very wrong. By the way, if a parent is very strict, can sue a school. I paid fees to study from school called Mukalazi, and I expect the pass slip to read Mukalazi Secondary School. You cannot at the end of the day bring a document reading Nanyombi Secondary School. That is very, very wrong. But schools have been doing these things, and sometimes parents don't even complain. They may not even know the implication, but it's very wrong. Let this be an eye-opener to all school managers. If you are not ready to have the child sit from your center, then right from the word go, don't charge them fees, don't even allow them study from that center. Straight away tell them, day one, you're below our required standards, try elsewhere. But fees is charged up to third term. At the last minute, they are pushed to another center. Sometimes, by the way, when even kids are not aware of this, it is very wrong. It affects the parent. It affects the child, their esteem, because at times they are packed to move to another center, and they also get to know their rejects. They are too weak to sit in a given center. They are just an embarrassment to the center, to a school where they have paid fees for almost 2 years for A-level or 4 years for O-level. It is very unfortunate, very regrettable, but we thank God such a scenario is coming up. It will serve awaken every other category.
And probably because this parent was actually keen and somehow sensitive about this, so he's coming to show other parents that please, we should team up.
These things really happen.
Madam Nanyombi,
yes.
I look at a situation.
Yes.
I'm a parent. I've brought my child to Standard High School Zana. Okay, I'm not saying Standard High School Zana does this, but I'm saying I've brought my child to Standard High School Zana. I expect them to come out with a certificate of Standard High School Zana. You have taken them to Mukalazi Secondary School, somewhere in Luweero or in Tiana, anywhere. I mean, because probably that is where you found refuge for my child. But as you're taking this child, do you ever find, do you ever feel what this parent will feel or what this child will feel, or it's a matter of, it's a selfish matter of the school. As long as we've found where to place you, that is all.
Thank you so much. For me, I would say, like Mr. Chewina said, that these people don't mind. In fact, they mind about promoting the other school instead of sitting down the shareholders, people who are involved in this, and tell them what is going on, and tell them what should be done, or what they are going to do. And they don't mind about how the child will be disorganized mentally, because this thing disorganizes students, because they have been used to teach a Farida at Standard High. Now you're taking them to teach a Joeria who doesn't know how to handle my kids. And even me, the teacher, disorganizes me because they've shipped away my students from me, taken to another school, instead of telling me, do you know what, maybe I should go with them. Because those things work. And I remember also when I was in my O-level, there is a teacher called the teacher Nasari. I don't know whether she's still alive. And she used to teach me accounts. And when they changed her, we could riot. Every time they could tell me, they are going to change for you and they are going to give you a new teacher. Because we were used to her, which she could teach us and understand. We understand each and everything that was given to us by her. And then I also get disturbed where students sit in other people's names. For real, we used to call them amanyaga abafu, those kind of stuff. It doesn't work. Yet a person possesses a name. Why don't you give that person a name, like the name that he or she came with at school when she was registering? And this promotion thing, let you collect your own students to enter your school instead of you shipping students from Standard High or to another school. And I appreciate my director, Mr. Mugisha, Mr. Sajabalaba, and Mr. Baguma, because they don't do that. It has never happened at Standard High School, Sana. So the rest of the schools, let this be an alarming thing to our ears, to get to know that the public sees what we do, the public doesn't appreciate what we do, and we should revise our means of doing things when it comes to education system. And for us to develop this thing of educating students, curbing them into something right, should start with doing things the right way.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Actually, there is some write-up here of the justification of this case, that the plaintiff averts that they have suffered mental harm and emotional distress that has significantly impacted their daily lives, causing them anxiety, depression, sleep disturbances, and loss of enjoyment of life as a result of aforementioned actions by the defendant. Now, we know that schools are yet to get into the registration, and I believe this matter starts with registration. It doesn't come at the time of the exams. It is a matter that comes in at such a time when schools are starting to register. What are some, Mr. Chewina, as an administrator, what are some of the things, the key things that parents can pay attention to as this process commences?
Oh yes, thank you. Gone are the days where parents would just bring fees to school and that's all, or they sit back and relax. Parents out there, you're supposed to be part of every activity. The entire cycle, you're supposed to be equally active participants. No, many parents, they imagine their duty stops at paying fees. When they are called for visitations, they don't pay keen interest or keen note of some of those issues. And that is how schools have taken advantage and they end up messing the children. Otherwise, during this season, in fact, just to correct you a bit, we are in the real season of registration, and it goes up to May. Sometimes a week two is allowed in June, late registration that goes with an extra charge. But otherwise, the month of April and May is purely for registration at all levels, right from P7, Senior 4, and Senior 6. Now, what parents out there need to understand: one, registration of candidates is calling for an extra payment. It's not part of the fees charged, although some schools make a total sum of the fees, saying you're going to pay 1.7 inclusive of registration. Some schools will charge it differently, so that once you've not paid registration, maybe you may not be registered for that matter. All right, because purely registration fee is UNEB fees. Now, even when it comes to these fees, I must caution some schools that over-exaggerate it. You know, that is where the whole problem comes from. The parent has paid a certain amount, say 1.7, and then you find the school designs its own registration fee to a tune of around 300,000 or even 400,000, making it even harder for a parent to have the child registered. And when a parent fails here and there, only to fall into the late date or late registration, and it also attracts now surcharge. So making life very hard for a parent. So dear administrators, let us keep within a reasonable range. We may not exactly charge what UNEB charges, because there are also other costs involved. The administrator on ground collecting all this information, registering the students, entering their data one by one. So they are also given some extra allowance and even movements to UNEB here and there, especially when need arises. Today we are in a digital world where registration has been simplified. All the child needs is, one, to have paid the registration fees, the certificate. For example, let me begin with the Senior 6. A Senior 6, you're required to have a birth certificate, which birth certificate is majorly to confirm your birth date, because these details are entered and they should not be different from what you entered at O level. Okay. So that at the end of the day, your information right from Senior 4, P7, Senior 6 throughout is just consistent. So you find children are not very sure of the birth dates. Even at times the names are misspelled. So we ask right from the birth certificate. Then we go to the Senior 4 pass slip, because students forge these documents as they are entering for A level. Yes, right. Like right now, UNEB may not have released pass slips or even certificates. One goes to NASA, draws a document. Someone who was not really meant to be registered, maybe got a fifth grade, but now claims to have gotten a second grade, and you welcomed her in Senior 5. But by the time of registration, you need to prove this beyond doubt. That is how we ask for that Senior 4 pass slip. One, to even justify that this is your true name, we need to confirm. Okay. And then the scores. And the system is so nice that once I enter your details, it will exactly tell me that, yeah, this is Mukala's as of UNEB standards or records. Or if you are below that grade that is meant to be registered, the system will automatically reject you. That Mukala's, you deceived, you got this, therefore you're not eligible for registration. So, and the photos, by the way, parents, why you need to know this information? It's because even some children can take advantage and ask you for unnecessary requirements. They asked us to bring this, plus this. Photos are taken at school because it's now electronic world, and we just upload into the UNEB system. So let no child deceive you that I need 20,000 for photos to be taken from Studio A, or I give to the cameraman. No, all this is done systematically at school. And trust me, that is all the child needs to be registered. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay. Even at Senior 4, you may need the P7 results. All right. So parents who have never picked these results from your former schools, this is the season. Pick those records, because we really need to confirm. I'm registering you for Senior 4 Mukala's, but is it true you used this very name, Mukala's Edrin? Depending even on the order, is that order on the pass slip the very order maintaining for your Senior 4 document? Because I'm preparing you for the job world. When you enter the job world and your Mukala's Andrew, but the pass slip reads Andrew Mukalas John, the order is totally different with even another name added. Those are two different individuals. In any case, that is already forgery. So we must really be very consistent. That is why we ask for those documents. Otherwise, if the child had these records offhand with the right spelling of the name, there wouldn't be any need for the pass slip. But I really need to prove it beyond doubt. And at that age, we cannot trust children. No, we can't. So we really need to look at the document.
How dangerous this generation has gone.
Oh, yes.
That a student cannot be trusted.
No, by the way, parents out there, never trust your children. That is the best remedy I can give you. Even when you feel you trust them. By the way, in life, never trust anybody. Never even trust yourself. That is one principle in life.
A parent will tell you, but they're my children.
Yes, they're your children, but there is the other side of them you may never know. That's why for us in this education system, we don't just take things lightly. Child ends senior P7 with the name Cheyune Andrew. By senior 4, Cheyune Andrew has added on James. The parent is not aware, all right, but along the way, the child has developed another name. Okay. So the fees rates may slightly differ. Senior 4 and senior 5, there is a slight difference.
Senior 5 and senior 6.
Yes, because at senior 4 there are many subjects done. Senior 6, the papers are slightly minimal. So if you're the parent who has a child in senior 4 and senior 6, you may be surprised to have some difference in the fees structure for strictly registration. Okay. Then P7, they may not need much because they are registering for the first time. Perhaps all they will need is the birth certificate and the fees for registration. Okay. Then we go into the process. By the end of May, it is the responsibility of the parent to also check and confirm that the child has been registered.
We shall get to that and how parents can really be active, because of late we've seen very many issues. I think it's only last year and like a year back where we've not had issues of parents crying that my child, we were duped that our children had been registered
in school, only to find they have never been registered anywhere.
I think UNEB is really working hard to eliminate that. But Teacher Farida, as we look at this, are there students who don't qualify even as early as P7 or senior 4, or who don't qualify to register, or whoever comes Jumla, they all qualify to be registered and sit for these final exams?
These days, schools are making business. Everyone qualifies to register, but a serious school, like my school, we always put pre-registration for the students to assess them whether they qualify or they don't qualify. And to our notes, that our students pass well, and they all sit for exams. And at the end of the day, we are going to have good citizens in the country, and the unqualified students are the ones who build buildings, and then at the end of the day they demolish, isn't it?
But I look at a situation where you've set the pre-registration exams. Maybe I was sick, my concentration was low, and I failed these exams. Isn't it being unfair if it is the measure of me qualifying to register in that particular school?
We see your academic passing from senior 1 up to senior 4. If you are sick, that is understandable, isn't it? And then when you come back at school, still there are the exams that you're supposed to do as you, because the serious students goes to the teachers or to the DOS and asks for those papers, isn't it? Then after they give you time to do those papers, they assess you and they give you the results. If you have passed, they see where your failures and success, and then they assess you on that. And still there are mocks in second term. There are mocks that takes, after mocks, we get to know that after these exams that are called mocks, we go to UNEB. and then it's the final assessment of the whole session.
But still, I'll get back to the pre-registration. I look at a situation still as a student. My performance has been moderate, but I have been a loyal student from senior 1. I'm disciplined. I don't have any issues apart from being an average learner. And I don't perform to the required mark of registration as per standard high school. Does it mean that you're going to do what this school particularly did, or you're going to tell me look for greener pastures elsewhere?
No, because what I know, every teacher knows the students that he or she's taking care of. We are going to sit down, talk to the student. We encourage him or her. We give her more trials so that we get her to the standards that we want. Because every person, even me and you, we cannot understand things at the same pace. So that means there are those who are supposed to be talked to, encouraged, not beaten, but talked to and as being sat down and talked to. At the end of the day, there is change.
We are taking a short commercial break. When we return, we are continuing with this conversation. It is really very important that parents pay attention to this, because this is where the whole mess starts from. If you're not part of your child's registration, you will have to cry afterwards when they have been registered in a different center parallel to where you had paid your fees. We are coming back after the commercial break.
Family TV, enriching lives.
When you are in the Lord, when you are sealed in the Lord, the devil looks at you and you are glittering. The devil locates a crown. For any person that the devil locates with a crown, the devil will never eat them, because they belong to the Most High.
Friends, don't you give up in any form of hardship. Don't you give up, for Jesus encourages us and says, even at the point of losing your life, for the sake of Christ and the gospel, it is okay.
My dear brothers and sisters, let us remember that God is still reigning on his throne in heaven above, and let us trust in him. Let us rely on him. Let us pray each and every time. Let us not give up on showing ourselves out into the world that the Lord Jesus Christ is still king and he still reigns.
You and I are here to reign on the earth, not to complain, not to grumble, not to play victim, not to quarrel, but to reign on the earth.
I pray, Father, that you will release the fourth man to destroy every fire, to protect your people who are in every furnace, and set them free in the name of Jesus.
Ramesses, you grew up together, close as brothers.
Remember the prophecy. Samson, chosen by the living God.
You dare to defy me? Let the furnace be heated sevenfold. Bind them and cast them into the fire.
It begins.
Take the ark!
Family Hour, empowering families one episode at a time. Together, we build strong, healthy, and thriving families with our daily dose of inspiration and expert insights on topics that matter, like education and career growth.
A child may be a good entrepreneur, but you're forcing the child to make sure that she passes sciences in order for her to be a what? A nurse.
Family health.
No one should one day tell you that, hey, since you have diabetes, you should not take Caro. That's a lie. There's what you call portion control.
Finance and wealth.
Keep track of your spending. And part of the spending, of course, as we said, be able to separate wants from needs. That's secondary.
Leadership and governance.
There are people who take on the political aspect and try to water down important, significant decisions we leaders take for the good of this country.
Not forgetting parenting.
Now you're raising kids or children who are in a totally different time. You get it. Those days your mother would just give you an eye and you know this is a problem.
Hey, there are visitors.
There are visitors
and
around.
Mom gives you this eye, you know?
Yes.
Catch more of this every Monday to Friday at 9 p.m.
Welcome back from that commercial break. We are looking at some of the things that you as a parent can pay attention to, especially when it gets to your child's registration. We started with a story in today's New Vision, which is really disheartening. I know, I feel for this parent. You have trusted this school, you've taken your child there. They have been there maybe for 7 years or 5 or 2, whichever period they have been there. You've paid your registration fee. This school has not engaged you. They have not even told you that because of this and this reason, we are taking your child to school B. And out of the blue, when you check your student's certificate, it reads a totally different name. But also, there is something else that happened of recent, where we saw a certain head teacher who forged results for the learners. And it was one parent who looked at the results that had been given to their child, and they were like, okay, even if God performs miracles, I don't believe my child would have performed this better. And this became an eye-opener to the other parents. Of course, we saw now UNEB coming in and the police, because the parent went up to UNEB to ask, how comes my child has this result? And then the UNEB, where did you get these results from? We withheld the results of that particular school. So how comes you have this result? And probably this is how some of these parents have come out to open our eyes as parents. This is a very, very important season for us, because whichever mistake we omit here, some of us had our names changed at P7, and up to now we have to contain that name you have.
Error has been maintained.
Yeah. But I mean, we look at why it is really important that parents pay attention to this. Is there any way parents can look at what has been registered upon their child's name before this file is submitted?
It is very possible. Actually, the parent may not look at the whole, may not observe the process. But once the registration is done, there is now a provision for parents to confirm that their children have been registered.
Okay.
And it is the way we check for results when they are out. All right. This time we shall only indicate, we shall begin with reg, R-E-G, space, index number of the child, and then we send it to 6600. Then it will bring
the same
you
code we use.
Oh yes, as we check results.
Okay.
But this time round, instead of PLE or UCE or USCE, so here the subject issue is registration, so we abbreviate it to reg. And it will give you the status of the child, whether the child has been registered or not. And it is still the responsibility of a parent to even get to school and ask for this. By the way, parents, the entering a school, let there not be a school to obstruct parents. Don't come, don't ask for this. You know, it is your right at any one point to get this information. And sometimes maybe where parents lose it is that even when they are called for parents' meetings, they never show up. Yeah. Very soon, I mean, we are still in the season of visitation days. But at times, most of these visitation days begin with parents' meetings, which parents totally ignore. They only get to school, open up their bread and quench and meat without even knowing anything to do with the child's performance and maybe registration status or how they performed. So parents, let us keep a keen eye and observe the whole process. There is a school I know where the school was very strict that we are not registering category A and B, C. Students had failed to perform to the expectations of the given school. Just like Madam was talking about pre-registration. Some schools use that as a yardstick to register students or reject them. But a child qualifies to be registered, step number 1, by UNEB standards. Before we even go to the standards of any school. Because schools will set their standards depending on the standards of the school. I must underline that statement. Schools will set standards of registration depending on standards of certain schools. That's why you can be rejected in school B because you don't match with their standards, but you are a hero welcomed in school C. So what happens? UNEB at senior 4, sorry, at P7, you may not have any UNEB requirement because you're registering for the first time. But after P7, going to senior 4, you should have passed PLE. So if you find at PLE you are the 5th grade, 4th grade, you may not qualify. But as she said, schools are now running it as business. They allow you in at senior 1. Then it is at senior 4 that they tell you, sorry, you are not qualifying for UNEB standards after they have taken fees for 4 years, which is very, very unfortunate. So once the child does not qualify, or P7, you are in 4th grade, we beg, we advise you give it second chance and repeat, maybe to get a better grade. Then at senior 4, the moment you still go beyond the 4th grade, you are 5th grade, you don't even have 3 credits or at least 3 passes, you're ungraded. Then you don't qualify to be registered for senior 6. But you'll enter those schools that will tell you, and we, just like we said, some students even forge results. At senior 5, they presented different results from NASA. By the time you come to senior 6, the system, the moment you enter in Mukalas, John, Adrian, the system will automatically bring your results of senior 4, and it will indicate whether you qualify or not. But be away from that. Schools go ahead and set their own standards. That for us here, whoever does not score between 1st grade and 2nd grade, you're not going to be registered for senior 4. But that is a check measure to make students work harder, because at the end of the day, we all smile when children excel. All parents have the joy, but the mechanism to bring those good results at times has to be a little tough. So that's why we said pre-registration. But I also want to caution schools that at times it's done purely to hurt the parents. The parent has paid fees for first term. By the end of first term, they are telling this parent, your child does not qualify to be registered with us. Look for another school. Now look at that task and the puzzle of identifying another school in second term. Fresh registration fee, school fees, uniform, it becomes very hectic and troublesome. So if a school is to not, or if you feel you should not register some students, then don't allow them even start senior 6 first term. But sometimes they are given second chance. Senior 5, the child did not measure up. We advised the child to repeat and the parent insisted. Then we come to senior 6, we say, fine, we are giving you the very last chance. If you don't excel with our pre-registration exams, then you'll try elsewhere. So as we blame, as we play the blame game, then we should really be realistic and look at either sides. There are parents who insist, give my child second chance, and the second chance is with pre-registration. You still don't measure up, we say, sorry, we had advised you to repeat senior 5 and you rejected. but you have failed still even when given second chance to measure up, try elsewhere.
But this parent still has faith in their child. They
Yes,
say, my faith is high.
by the way,
my child will.
sometimes people can have faith because they don't have the knowledge of certain things. Like when you're seated in a plane, you're not the pilot, your faith will tell you we shall land safely. But it's the pilot who will know the technical error that this plane, I just have to look for an emergency landing. Even with the medical field, for you will pray with for your patient to get better, but the doctors can tell that this one is just left with hours. But now you cannot tell that to the caretakers or even to the patient. You just keep convincing them, yes, don't worry, yeah, she will get better, he will get better, even when you know this person must be off the planet in the next 1 hour. So that is what happens even in the education field. We can tell that Mukalazi, even when we try it all, Mukalazi cannot pass. The best we can do for Mukalazi is to give him second chance to repeat senior 5 or to repeat senior 3. But the parent insists, and you even find the child insisting, I will make it, I'll make it, I can't. But when we really, yes, they may feel, but it's not about feeling, it's about proving it on paper.
Okay.
Yes, otherwise, if all wishes were horses, then trust me, every beggar would be on the ride. So, this is what happens. We feel Mukalazi does not qualify, and we don't want to tarnish the name of the school. Because whenever results are out, every parent will ask one question: how many first grades? No parent is interested in how many failures. How many first grades? So for us to keep onto the knob and to that tune, we have to squeeze in the process. By the way, it's the process we go through that eventually reflects our output. Okay. So it has to be a hectic process we have to all bear, because we all want something good at the end of it all. My only concern to the parents, let us be part of the process. We follow it up. When we are called for these parents' meetings, let us be active. Otherwise, it is an embarrassment. At the end of the day, to be told Mukalazi is to sit from a school in Mukono when Mukalazi has been studying from Kampala. It is an inconvenience to the parent, but most of all, it affects the child. By the way, it only has negative effects. There is nothing positive about it. A child who has studied from environment A to finally sit from environment B with new teachers, new supervisors, new everything, it affects the child. Most of those children in the first papers, they are just troubled. They only later try to pick up because they have no choice. But it's not a good experience. It is total cheating to the parent. It is open theft, schools. And by the way, we are only looking at school A taking to school B. But we are forgetting one thing. There are schools with different centers. It is one brand. Maybe I can say a school called Cheyune, but Cheyune campus B.
Are these the schools we see? For example, Cheyune High School Annex?
Yes, there is also that possibility. They have an annex is possible depending when you have bigger numbers. The moment you exceed 1,000, your neighbor allows you chance to create another center within the same school, what we call annex, to cater for that excess. But there are schools that have campuses. It is one school, Andrew, but it has a campus in Mukono. It has a campus in Gayaza. It has a campus in Masaka. But we want our campus in Mukono to be the very best. So all those below 3rd grade or 4th, we take them to campus in Masaka. But it is one campus, it is one school. It all takes us back to the same thing. You are inconveniencing children. You're not being faithful. If I'm organizing a wedding to marry Mukalazi, why would you on the wedding day present me, John? I've studied from school A. Why should I sit my final exams from school B when I did not commit any offense?
Now I see why this person says they have suffered mental.
By the way, there are many cases.
Emotional distress, and this has significantly impacted their daily lives, causing them anxiety, depression, and sleep disturbances.
Even students make fun of their colleagues that for you're not going to sit from here, you are academically weak, you're the ones who are going to be taken to the other's campus. So the child gets to know that they are just rejects. In any case, they're just helping them sit, but they don't qualify to sit. They're an embarrassment to the school. So it is very bad. These are practices that have been going on, but there is one thing we are also left out of: impersonation. Leave alone those transfer of children. But there is also bringing in external mercenaries.
That's what I talked about as we were studying, that this happens, and I saw it happen somewhere when I was still in school, where some students were being taken to sit for some other students, because they were bright, they had this better grade, and probably so they would take them for a month, in a month to exams. They coach them, and then they sit and they excel. So a student sits for PLE up to when they're in senior 3, as long as their body can
still fit in. These are all crimes committed, and at times they go unnoticed just for the sake of schools appearing in newspapers. And at one time I made a statement, and I strongly repeat it. As long as UNEB still allows results to be published in papers, we shall never end cheating and all these dubious practices in schools, because everyone is yearning to appear in newspapers. Observer does the ranking.
I'm going to look for Mrs. Kalule, and one time we shall have her with you here, so that she gives us the detail of the new UNEB Act and what it talks about, these results being printed in papers and all that. Yeah.
Otherwise, it has been one cause of all these cases of theft, cheating here and there, because we are all fighting to appear in papers. That's why when I find out of my students, I have 50, but I don't have a Mukalas who is likely to bring 20 points. It's better to bribe Mukalas who sat last year and caused their 20 points from a school A. I bring him to repeat. And what is funny,
this time in a different
what
name.
is funny, Mukalas got 19 points in a school A. He qualifies for government or to even go anywhere. But Mukalas has the right to repeat for the sake of getting 20 points. He says, yes, I got 19, but I feel I'm not comfortable. I want to get 20. And you find a 19 student is repeating to get 20 points. And that
under
is
the influence of the school.
Under the influence of the school. Not that the students truly wants to repeat, but that is the excuse they are painting, even when identified. That is the excuse they will present. I repeated from this school because I realized it is in this school that I would get my dream of 20.
Do you first coach them to give that response, or
no? Definitely they are briefed and even paid. That because in case of anything,
so
this is the reason you're repeating. Yes, we want someone who will strike, so that our center also has a 20 student. So when we say how many 20s, and
this is very serious. But,
there is a lot done in school, a lot of dirty things done in schools. But at times, in case of any backfire, it affects the child and the parents. Sometimes children repeat; they are hired to repeat exams when even parents are not aware, and by the things that sometimes successfully are done.
Madam Farida.
Yes.
After going through all this, I have registered at P7 as Mukalazi Edrin, but I realize Edrin is no longer fancy when I'm in senior 4. So I want this time to register Mukalazi Eddie. Do I have any provision of changing that? Because I realize Edrin sounds a little outdated, so I want to make it more fancy. Yeah?
I don't want to question, but why should you change your names? Yet at P7 you use the other names. Yet they are going to use these the PASLIP used at P7 to take you to senior, to make you sit senior 4 exams. That is UCE.
I just find this name fancy, so I want to change.
Fancy.
I just want to change. It looks a little stylish.
I remember when I was in P7, I added this name Issa at P7. And when I reached O level, I used Nanyombi Farida. But I wanted my name to come with me. And then I remember that time, that is the first time they asked for the PASLIPs to come in, the P7 PASLIPs to come at O level to use them for UCE. And I recalled, oh, now this is the time for my name to follow me. But there are those that were called Tusubira, Nabukalu before. And now they are going to rechange their fancy names back to the P7 names. So it doesn't qualify. It doesn't make sense, because you want the name. You nickname yourself. You say AKA whenever you introduce yourself. to the public. I'm Farida Issa, aka this and this, but not changing names. By the way, it becomes hard even when your name is twisted from Issa, Farida, Nanyombi. You are another person. You are not the same person, even if the ID shows your face. You are a different person. So there's no need of people changing their names because you adore that name of a late or a celebrity. No, you be with your name. Learn to love yourself, by the way. We should learn to love ourselves. And I wanted to comment about Mr. Chayune's submission. I want to ask, where is Ubuntu went? People don't have Ubuntu in their cells. I don't know whether these schools, the people, the founders, or the people managing those schools, they don't love themselves. They don't praise God. Where is God in these things? Because when you are religious, yes, but you are hurting people. You are hurting, like example this, as a teacher, as in a parent, a student, they are not well now.
Actually, these are three people: the mother, the father, and the
yes, even the brothers and sisters, which we are not seeing in the picture, they are not well. You are sabotaging each and everything here.
Probably these are the only people we are seeing, but there
are many there out there. Yes, and if you try to come, this one is brave. When others come out, they just, in fact, I don't know how. It's like a hen covering the what? The situation, the kid, the chicks at the end of the day. They cover up things, they make you, they disorganize each and everything on you. At the end of the day, you get fed up. But people, we should spiritually grow, spiritually think that there is in the end. There is tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to come, and how will it find us? I'm telling you, because me having a veil like this, and then put on my shop Bismillah, Bismillah, or Alhamdulillah shop. Yet what I do inside is not Alhamdulillah. That is anti-religious. So we should style up, we should move towards the right path, and then do things the right way. We should consider the parents, consider the teachers, consider the student, because at the end of the day, it will come back to us. So that is...
even as we wind up this discussion, in a minute, advice to the parents out there and why it is important for their involvement in the registration process of their learners.
This statement is being used by the politicians. They always tell us, the citizens, to follow up where your money goes, where your tax goes. So the parents there, don't sit back home. Come to the schools, consult the concerned people, say what you want. They will explain to you. In fact, even if they fail, you ask for other people who are available at the school to help you out on this situation. Because at the end of the day, it is going to make you suffer. It is going to make you get into your pocket and spend more on what you don't know. So be vigilant. Move away from your sitting rooms. Come to the schools, consult people, and they will do what you want. And don't move away from that school before you get satisfied.
Okay.
Yes, and that is me, because I have my next people, my sisters and brothers. I also take them to school. I have also kids. There is no way I can move away from school when I didn't get the right information from that person. Yes.
Thank you so much, Madam Farida. Mr. Chayune,
yes.
In a minute, as you wind up, what are your closing remarks and why should really engage themselves directly in this process?
Yeah, to the parents out there, this year, in case you have a candidate, this is the determining year. In any case, this means we should be more serious than even ever before. You've had a child from P1, but now this is the finishing line, P7. So you're supposed to even double efforts or even triple efforts if possible, and observe every other detail. Someone has been in O-level for 4 years. Now this is the finishing point. The same to A-level. Second, they are just 2 years, but this is the time. So let us not leave any stone unturned. Let's follow up the process. Even when you find the whole registration was a success, still go ahead and follow up the performance of the child, so that come next year around Feb, March, as the rest are jubilating, you equally have a reason to smile because you followed up the whole process. And that's not by them cars stop at only registration. Time is coming for even the UNEB exams to be done. That is when parents should not only stop at praying, but following up whatever is happening at school. Otherwise, cheating is done. Children are made to suffer. Parents are made to cry, because at one point there is something they did not follow up. I must thank you all those that spare time to follow us on Family TV every Monday. I still remain Chene Andrew, in case you need my contact, because I help out administrators, I help out parents who are stuck and purely in education circles. Find me on 0706 281566 0706 281566. Let's work together. We groom an admirable generation. May God bless you
so much, Mr. Chene. Thank you so much, Madam Farid. And thank you so much to you, our viewer, who has been watching us from where we started up to here. But I'll end with what Madam Farida said. Humanity. I mean, before you do this injustice to your customer's child, to this child, think about how you would feel if it was done to your child. I remain Edwin Austin Mukalazi. I've worked with Jonah Jal, the producer, Norman Conte in transmission, and very many other people are putting things together to see that you have this image. Next on TV is Soul Moment. We meet again tomorrow, same time, Family Hour, as we discuss health. Good night.